You settle into your chair, or perhaps you are already lying down, the weight of the day pressing gently against your shoulders. Welcome quietly to Sleepy Historian. Tonight we will drift slowly through the subtle rhythms of another time, a world shaped by beliefs that may seem strange to us now, but which guided every small motion, every measured breath, every hesitant step through the hours. You may find yourself half listening, eyes closing and opening again, your mind wandering. That is precisely as it should be. There is no hurry here, only the careful unfolding of history, quiet and steady. The medieval world was not simply superstition or ignorance. It was a place where logic, fear, hope, and the need to endure intertwined. You might expect that their beliefs were irrational, even foolish. But as we move slowly through these days and nights, you will see that these ideas, though misunderstood now, shaped survival, comfort, and society. They gave rhythm to work and rest, guided choices of food, sleep, and movement, and gently enforced rules that kept people safe, even if they were not aware of it. As you listen, allow yourself to notice the small details of your own body, the rise and fall of your chest with each breath, the subtle tension in your hands, the quiet pulse in your temples. Perhaps there is a mug nearby, or a blanket tucked around your legs. Let the gentle awareness of your own presence mirror the daily attentiveness of a villager tending hearth and field, watching the sky, listening for signs that the world is as it should be. Medieval people lived with layers of unseen forces. Spirits lingered in the trees. Omens whispered in the clouds. The body itself had rules, humors and balances that dictated diet, sleep, and labor. Every day was carefully observed, and every small choice could ripple outward in ways that were not immediately visible. Some of these beliefs may seem peculiar to you, yet in their time, they were practical, survival-oriented, and quietly influential. You might notice that the quietest dangers often left the deepest impression. A cold night, a poorly chosen meal, or a small misstep could make hours drag slowly and fatigue accumulate. Some did not awaken as expected, and morning did not arrive for everyone. There is no need to fear. This is not a story of dramatic catastrophe, but of endurance, observation, and subtle pressure, where life's fragility is a constant companion. As we move forward, you will come to understand how beliefs shape the rhythm of work, the timing of sleep, the arrangement of households, and even the way neighbors related to one another. You will see the mundane intertwined with the mystical, the ordinary carrying quiet weight. Consider for a moment the repetition of simple tasks: washing, cooking, sweeping, tending animals, walking the same paths day after day. Each motion is small, yet each carries consequence, guided in part by beliefs that now seem remote, yet then were central.
Notice, too, the environment around you. Perhaps there is a window, faint moonlight spilling across your floor. Maybe the air is cool against your skin, or you hear distant noises that anchor you to the present. Let these sensations mirror the physicality of the medieval world. Stone cottages that trap warmth yet chill at night, hearth fires casting flickering shadows on rough walls. The scent of smoke, bread, and earth mingling with quiet labor. Time passes slowly here, and your awareness of it will deepen as we move forward. Even the humblest home had its rhythms. Meals were prepared with careful attention to the seasons, the balance of ingredients, and the needs of the body. Sleep was scheduled not just by nightfall, but by considerations of health, dreams, and superstition. Work was measured in effort and endurance, guided by weather, light, and sometimes by quiet fear. The alignment of these routines formed a web delicate and intricate that held daily life together. You will observe these patterns slowly, letting them settle in your mind as you might notice the flicker of candlelight in a quiet room. There was also constant observation of the unseen, spirits, omens, or divine influence. A strange sound in the night might prompt careful attention, small ritual, or a whispered prayer. Fields and animals were watched with vigilance, not from paranoia, but from the understanding that survival often depended on anticipation, repetition, and caution. You may feel a similar attentiveness as we linger over each detail, each quiet movement, each belief that shaped action without ceremony or spectacle. Consider your own body now, the subtle pressure of your clothing against your skin, the warmth of the space around you, or the cold edges of the room. These sensations are reminders that the physical world is always present. For medieval people, the environment was a teacher and sometimes a quiet adversary. Awareness of temperature, fatigue, hunger, and comfort was never optional. Their beliefs were strategies for living within these constraints, ways to predict, mitigate, and endure.
As we continue, we will slowly walk through different aspects of daily life, the logic behind their health practices, the structure of labor and rest, the quiet moral codes that guided interaction, and the rituals both sacred and mundane that punctuated their hours. We will move gently, noticing small repetitions, subtle environmental cues, and the passage of time measured in hours of work, light, and endurance. You may drift in and out of sleep as you listen, and that is natural. Even so, each detail will settle quietly into your understanding of this world. Some of their beliefs may surprise you. Some may even feel alien. Yet each one served a purpose, subtle or profound. The humors dictated diet, superstition guided walking paths, prayer marked the passage of the day. These practices were neither frivolous nor capricious. They were woven into the fabric of survival and human comfort, and they shaped the very rhythm of everyday life. There is no hurry, no climax awaits. We will move slowly, observing as the villagers did, by sight, by habit, by careful attention. You may feel your own breathing slow, your muscles relax, and your mind begin to wander into quiet contemplation. Let the weight of stillness guide you as you listen. As we prepare to explore the first segment of our journey, the origins and everyday logic of belief, where gods, spirits, and unseen forces quietly influenced the mundane. Remember, this is Sleepy Historian. There is no rush, no need for excitement, only the slow unfolding of a world where every small choice carried weight, and every day was shaped by the subtle, enduring presence of belief. You may return here again, night after night, to continue observing, drifting, and understanding. For now, allow yourself to settle, to notice the environment around you, and to prepare for the quiet exploration of medieval life as it was truly lived.
You begin your day in the quiet village, the soft gray light of dawn spilling through narrow windows. The chill in the stone walls presses gently against your skin, and you notice the small sounds of life around you, the faint creak of a door, the distant crow of a rooster, the whisper of wind through the trees. These sounds are neither urgent nor alarming. They are the quiet markers of the world, waking slowly. You step outside, letting the morning air brush against your face. The path beneath your feet is uneven, the stones smoothed by countless journeys. Each footfall reminds you that the day ahead is measured, deliberate, and filled with subtle expectations. In this world, belief is never abstract. The unseen forces, the gods, spirits, and shadows that linger just beyond the eye, guide every step, every decision, often without conscious thought. You pause to observe a small tree by the edge of the path. Its bare branches sway with the wind, and in their movement, you sense something more than motion. The villagers believe that spirits inhabit the land, that misfortune can be carried by the whispering leaves, that luck may rest in careful observation of the sky and the way the sun strikes the stones. You like them, understand that this is not merely superstition, but a slow, enduring system of guidance. Ignoring it might bring discomfort, fatigue, or unseen misfortune. As you walk toward the central square, you notice the rhythms of early labor. Someone is sweeping the steps of a cottage, another hauls water from the well. Their movements are repeated day after day, season after season. You feel the subtle pressure of observation, not imposed by others, but by the need to align oneself with the rhythms dictated by belief and habit. The spirits of the home, the protection of the hearth, the silent approval of unseen guardians, all are measured by attentiveness and small ritual. You reach the market square, though it is empty this early. A single lamp flickers near the inn's doorway. You pause to consider the air, the smell of damp earth mixed with smoke. Here, in the spaces between people, the influence of invisible forces feels most potent. A misstep, a poorly chosen path, a hurried action could invite fatigue, accident, or minor misfortune. Nothing dramatic occurs, only the slow accumulation of consequence over time. The body notices it in stiffness, weariness, and careful attentiveness. You continue along the lane that leads to the small chapel at the edge of town. Its stone walls are cool to the touch, and inside, the air is tinged with candle smoke and incense. You kneel, not out of fear, but out of recognition that small rituals guide the day. The villagers pray not only for salvation, but for subtle endurance, that limbs remain strong, that the body can tolerate the cold, that the rhythm of labor continues uninterrupted. Their belief in gods and spirits quietly enforces survival, even when the logic is not visible. Outside the chapel, the animals are stirring. Chickens scratch the ground. A dog lifts its head and growls softly at a distant sound. These too are part of the unseen order, reminders that life is observed at all levels, and that the small motions of the day are measured against forces both visible and invisible. You notice your own heartbeat, your slow inhale and exhale, and imagine how in this time, even the simplest act, a step across the yard, a lifted arm, a bent back, carries moral, practical, and spiritual weight. You walk through the fields, dew dampening the grass beneath your feet. The furrows and small ridges have been prepared with care, guided by knowledge, passed down and interpreted through belief. Fertility is not merely a matter of seed and soil, but also of attention to omens and signs. The wind, the clouds, the behavior of birds, each is read slowly, with patience and repetition. You feel a subtle endurance in the rhythm of observation, your eyes tracing the horizon, your shoulders relaxing under the quiet pressure of understanding. There are those who move more hurriedly, carrying tools and baskets, but even they are governed by invisible rules. You sense that rushing invites imbalance, fatigue, or misfortune, body learns slowly, as does the mind, to follow these rhythms, to notice subtle signs, to respond not with panic, but with measured care. The day unfolds in layers of observation, routine, and gentle anticipation, all framed by belief. As the sun rises higher, you notice the soft light scattering across stone walls and wooden beams. Shadows lengthen and shorten imperceptibly, a slow pulse of time. You imagine how villagers measure these subtle changes, aligning tasks with the sun, moon, and stars. Every movement is weighed against unseen influence, guiding labor, rest, and the careful pacing of each day. The unseen is never threatening, only persistent. You learn to respect it, to move with it, to allow it to shape your endurance. Even in moments of stillness, belief exerts quiet power. A villager sitting at a threshold, hands folded, watches the morning unfold with subtle attention. A child follows a parent along a path, learning the rhythms of observation, learning that patience, attention, and repetition are themselves protective. The world moves slowly, and so must you if you wish to remain aligned with it. Fatigue comes not all at once but accumulates gently, pressing awareness into the body and mind, inviting calm, quiet attentiveness. By midday, the village feels alive but subdued. People are engaged in tasks, voices low, movements deliberate. You notice how belief shapes conversation, interaction, and posture. The gods and spirits are neither dramatic nor insistent, but their presence is constant, quietly measured, ensuring that small mistakes do not accumulate into disaster. Survival is a series of soft attentions, of noticing, responding, and enduring. You can feel your own body echoing this rhythm, a subtle awareness of the slow accumulation of effort and care. As you pause by a small stream, you watch water moving over stone and consider how invisible forces mirror this movement. Constant, patient, never rushing, shaping the course of life in ways that are barely perceptible. You may feel the same in your own life now, as you listen and observe. Quiet pressure, a subtle guidance, a slow shaping of endurance and awareness. And so you continue, moving through the village and fields, observing small rituals, tiny attentions, and gentle signs. The day stretches without urgency. Your mind settles into its own rhythm. The unseen forces, while silent, are always present, framing action, guiding endurance, and shaping the mundane into patterns that sustain life. You may drift in and out of awareness, your body responding to the quiet weight of observation, the subtle pressure of routine, the slow passage of time. This is how life is guided in the medieval world. Not through drama, not through sudden calamity, but through patient observation, repetition, and the quiet shaping hand of belief. You feel it in your own body now, a soft echo of the world you are witnessing. Time stretches, breath deepens, muscles relax and respond to the slow, deliberate unfolding of life.
You leave the quiet chapel behind and begin a slow walk along the village lanes, noticing the small details that mark the passing of time. The air carries the faint smell of damp earth, mixed with smoke from the early fires. Each sound, the soft clatter of a bucket, the distant call of a bird, the faint rustle of leaves, settles gently into your awareness. Here, as always, observation is its own kind of labor, and the medieval mind learned to measure the world in subtle signs. You approach a small cottage where an elderly woman is bending over a table of jars and dried herbs. Her hands move slowly, deliberately, arranging small bundles, turning leaves over, crushing roots. The rhythm is steady, almost meditative, and you find your own breath slowing in response. These herbs are not merely for flavor, they are for balance. The villagers understand the body through humor, through subtle energies, through patterns of temperature and moisture, of blood and bile. Each plant, each root, each simple mixture is interpreted through experience and tradition. You watch as she lifts a sprig of lavender and crushes it, inhaling the scent before setting it aside. The smell is faint but persistent, and you imagine that the villagers themselves relied upon such sensations to guide health and mood. Perhaps you notice that this practice is slow and repetitive, each movement performed in small rotations. A pinch of this, a careful stir of that, a whisper of instruction to the herbs themselves. Time is measured in these small acts, each one a quiet attempt to influence the unseen balance of the body. Outside, a child follows a parent to the garden, pausing to pick up a stone or examine a leaf. They are learning the same lessons, that the world speaks softly, in signs and patterns, and that careful attention shapes outcome. The wind, the clouds, the flight of birds, all carry information that might be applied to work, health, or domestic well-being. You feel a subtle weight in these observations, a quiet pressure to understand, to endure, to act with care rather than haste. Now, the villagers believe that imbalance in the body can invite misfortune, fatigue, or illness. Humors must be balanced, heat and cold, moisture and dryness, blood, phlegm, black and yellow bile. A misjudged meal, a hurried movement, a day spent ignoring the subtle cues of environment. These may not immediately harm, but over time they wear the body, drain energy, and disrupt rhythm. You notice how slow repetition, stirring, grinding, observing, acts as a stabilizing force, reinforcing endurance and resilience. You wander past a small field, dew glinting on leaves, the earth soft beneath your feet. You see another villager studying the sky, noting clouds, the angle of sunlight, and the behavior of animals. These observations are interpreted not only for immediate labor, when to plant or harvest, but also for health. Rain might bring dampness that chills the body, or wind might signal that certain work should be postponed. The world itself is a teacher, guiding the rhythm of life, and the villagers have learned to read its subtle lessons. Inside another cottage, a simple hearth burns low and a pot simmers over it. You notice the careful rotation of ingredients, a handful of grains, a small sprig of herb, a measured amount of water. This is not culinary experimentation, but quiet practice, informed by observation, inherited knowledge, and belief. Even small errors can disturb balance. Too much moisture, too little heat, a misapplied herb. The body responds slowly, fatigue accumulates, minor discomfort settles in, and the day moves forward with subtle consequences. You feel your own awareness of a rhythm, of repetition, of quiet endurance echoing these actions. Sometimes, the villagers' interpretations may seem strange or incorrect to you. A plant might be used to ward off spirits, or a sequence of movements performed to restore balance unseen. Yet there is method in what appears methodless. Repetition ensures that care is taken, attention is maintained, and small errors do not accumulate. Even if the logic is imperfect, the act itself reinforces survival and continuity. You can feel the slow accumulation of effort in your body as you imagine following these routines, the subtle tightening of muscles, the deliberate movement of hands, the careful attention of eyes scanning surface and detail. You notice the small gestures of observation, checking the freshness of water, examining leaves for signs of disease, adjusting a fire to maintain warmth without smoke. Each is performed slowly, deliberately, repeated in cycles that stretch hours and days. The mind learns patience, endurance, and observation. The body learns subtle resistance to fatigue, small adjustments to posture and motion, a slow, careful harmony with environment and circumstance. You may notice the quiet rhythm of your own breathing, slow and even, as the patterns of labor and observation settle in your awareness. Okay. At midday, the sun casts long shadows over the village and fields. You follow a path along which a villager walks, carrying tools, stopping occasionally to observe or adjust. Even these small pauses have purpose. The body rests briefly. The mind notes surroundings. The subtle balance of belief and observation continues. There is no hurry. Time is measured not by minutes or hours alone, but by attention, endurance, and alignment with the world's subtle rhythms. Fatigue builds slowly, unnoticed at first, but ever present, a companion that tempers action and deepens awareness. You pause to watch a stream, water moving steadily over stone. It is easy to imagine that medieval people saw in this movement a reflection of their own lives, careful, patient, measured. Small rituals and observations, repeated daily, create stability, shape endurance, and guide the mind and body without dramatic intervention. You sense this subtle structure now as the world moves slowly around you, as your own body responds to quiet pressure and rhythm. By late afternoon, the patterns of labor, observation, and belief continue uninterrupted. You notice the gentle rotations of tasks, stirring, grinding, arranging, noting, adjusting. These actions may seem mundane, even repetitive, but they carry subtle consequences for health, comfort, and survival. Each movement reinforces endurance, trains attention, and maintains balance within a delicate system that spans body, mind, and environment. You may feel yourself relaxing into this rhythm, your awareness blending with the slow unfolding of the day. Even the smallest detail carries weight: the scent of herbs, the angle of sunlight, the position of a tool, the shape of a leaf. Observing these with patience strengthens both understanding and endurance. Time stretches. Muscles loosen and tighten in response to deliberate motion. Breath deepens and slows. You notice the subtle interaction between mind and body, how repetition fosters resilience, and how beliefs, though misunderstood now, are quietly pragmatic, shaping survival without spectacle. As evening approaches, shadows lengthen, fires glow softly through windows, and the village prepares for night. The day's small lessons accumulate: careful observation, patient adjustment, subtle endurance. You may feel a faint echo of fatigue, the gentle settling of awareness into the body, the quiet acknowledgement that life, guided by observation and belief, moves slowly, deliberately, and continuously. And you carry these impressions with you as the day winds down, aware that unseen forces, whether spirits, humors, or subtle signs of nature, persist, guiding the rhythm of life, shaping endurance, and quietly maintaining balance. The medieval mind, attentive and patient, understood the world as a slow, measured unfolding, and in doing so, taught its practitioners the art of subtle, continuous survival. You rise early again, feeling the cool stone floor beneath your feet, the lingering chill of night pressing gently against your ankles. Outside, the village is just beginning to stir. A thin mist curls along the path, carrying the faint scent of smoke and earth. Each breath you take reminds you of the slow weight of the day ahead. In this world, action is measured not only by the rhythm of work, but by the quiet pressure of moral expectation, woven subtly into every. As you move along familiar lanes, you notice the neighbors beginning their routines, carrying water, tending animals, preparing small fires. Their movements are deliberate, repeated each day, guided by both practicality and the invisible weight of moral codes. The medieval entwined belief and behavior. Every gesture, every choice, carried the quiet sense that one's actions were observed not only by the gods or spirits, but by the community itself. You pass by a small courtyard where two villagers are arranging bundles of herbs and firewood. Their conversation is low and careful, each word measured. Here, social conduct mirrors belief, a kind word, a thoughtful gesture, a pause at the right moment. Deviations, even minor, invite subtle discomfort, sometimes whispered censure, or a quiet sense of disapproval. The pressure is gentle, slow, almost imperceptible, but persistent. You feel it in the awareness of your own posture, the tension in your shoulders, the soft weight of observation settling over each movement. In the marketplace, tables are being prepared, baskets set carefully on worn wooden boards. Merchants nod politely to one another, their eyes reflecting mutual recognition and subtle accountability. You notice the rhythm of exchange, the careful counting of coins, the measured weighing of grain, the repetition of familiar greetings. Each action reinforces order, reflects moral expectation, and maintains social cohesion. You, walking slowly among these figures, absorb the sense that morality is not merely abstract, but embedded in every gesture and every repetitive task. Okay? At mid-morning, you pause near a well, watching a group of villagers draw water. The cadence of their actions, lowering the bucket, filling it, raising it slowly, is almost ceremonial. There is no hurry, but each movement carries quiet expectation. The elder overseeing this process ensures that proper attention is paid, that missteps are corrected with gentle guidance, and that small rituals of respect and care are observed. You may feel your own body respond to this rhythm. The subtle lifting of arms, the bend of your back, the slow inhalation and exhalation as you mirror their measured actions. You notice a child walking alongside a parent, hands clasped together, mimicking the careful movements of adults. Here, morality is learned in silence, through repetition and subtle pressure, rather than instruction alone. Observing, copying, absorbing the rhythm of life, the child internalizes the quiet rules of behavior, patience, attentiveness, carefulness. You may sense the same slow accumulation of awareness in yourself as the world moves gently around you, shaping attention, endurance, and subtle compliance. Inside a modest dwelling, a villager kneels to sweep the hearth, the motion repeated with deliberate slowness. Each movement carries an unspoken expectation. The hearth must be tidy, the fire properly maintained, the family's comfort preserved. These are not laws imposed through fear, but through a quiet understanding that attention to detail sustains both the household and its occupants. You feel the subtle echo of fatigue in the steady bending and lifting, the small tension in the hands and back, the calm pressure of care that accompanies all action. You walk past a garden, noting how plants are arranged with care. Their alignment reflects not only practical need, sunlight, water, spacing, but also moral and symbolic meaning. Certain plants are thought to bring protection, others to ward off spirits or misfortune. The villager's attention to these details reinforces both belief and discipline, embedding quiet lessons about order, observation, and patient repetition. You may feel yourself noticing similar patterns in your own environment, the small alignments and rituals that structure your day. By noon, the village hums quietly with activity. You observe an exchange of goods, a basket of eggs for a handful of grain, coins counted and recounted, gestures repeated and mirrored. Moral expectation is woven into these transactions, subtle yet persistent. Honesty is measured not in dramatic oversight, but in slow accumulation, a repeated pattern of careful observation, attention to detail, and gentle account. You feel the quiet pressure of endurance and precision, mirrored in your own awareness, echoing the rhythm of labor and interaction. And you notice the small rituals that punctuate the day, a pause at the doorway to cross oneself, a whispered prayer for safe passage, the careful arrangement of tools and possessions. These actions, repeated over time, train both body and mind to remain alert yet calm, attentive yet measured. Fatigue builds gently, unhurried, carrying with it a slow awareness that order, morality, and care are intertwined, shaping life without spectacle or dramatization. Even the most mundane choices, where to place a basket, how to stack firewood, when to rest, are imbued with subtle moral weight. The body registers these decisions in small adjustments, slight changes in posture, repeated motions that train endurance and careful observation. You may notice your own awareness shifting, settling into the rhythm of these repeated, deliberate actions. The day stretches, measured in both movement and moral attention, each subtle action reinforcing the quiet fabric of life. By afternoon, you observe a group of villagers repairing fences along a boundary. Each stroke of hammer or saw is deliberate, each action repeated in patterns learned over years. Here, labor, belief, and moral expectation merge. Attention to detail ensures survival, careful work maintains harmony, and subtle endurance reinforces the rhythm of community. You notice the slow passage of time, the faint ache in muscles, the gentle accumulation of fatigue. Each movement carries both practical and moral weight, shaping the body and mind alike. As evening approaches, the villagers gather for small acts of reflection, lighting lamps, arranging personal spaces, preparing simple meals. Morality and belief continue to guide these actions, shaping endurance, attentiveness, and quiet self-regulation. Even in stillness, there is subtle work, ensuring order, aligning possessions, maintaining careful observation of both self and environment. You feel the slow accumulation of experience in your body and mind, the rhythm of the day echoing in each motion, each breath, each gentle, deliberate attention. You may now notice that the pressure of moral belief is never sudden, never alarming. It is quiet, persistent, shaping the rhythm of life through repetition, observation, and subtle guidance. The medieval world relied on these slow pressures to maintain balance, ensure survival, and cultivate endurance. You sense it in yourself now, the steady awareness, the calm attentiveness, the slow, deliberate unfolding of each moment. And by nightfall, the village settles into quiet preparation for rest. You have walked, observed, and reflected, absorbing the subtle guidance of moral expectation and social constraint. Fatigue is present, but gentle awareness remains, though softened by the rhythm of repeated action and quiet endurance. In this world, life moves slowly, shaped by belief, observation, and the calm, persistent weight of invisible guidance. You may drift into contemplation, feeling the faint echo of these lessons as your body and mind settle into calm, patient awareness. You begin your day again with the quiet preparation of a meal. The hearth glows softly in the dim light of morning, smoke curling lazily toward the low ceiling. The chill of the stone floor reaches your ankles, and the air carries the faint scent of yesterday's bread mingled with embers from the hearth. You notice these small sensations, the warmth against your hands as you lift a wooden bowl, the gentle pressure of a ladle moving through thick porridge, the soft scrape of a knife along the table. Every motion is deliberate, measured, and infused with a quiet rhythm. Eating in this time is neither casual nor rushed. The villagers believe that what you consume shapes not only the body but the mind and soul. Humors must be balanced: blood, phlegm, black bile, yellow bile. Too much warmth or cold, moisture or dryness can disturb the delicate equilibrium of health. You notice how careful they are with ingredients, each one considered for its properties, its alignment with the day, the season, and the body's needs. You may feel your own attention settle into the rhythm of preparation, each small task reflecting a larger understanding of endurance. You lift a small piece of bread from the table, coarse and fragrant, and taste it slowly. Its texture reminds you that meals are not merely fuel, they are deliberate, guided by observation and inherited knowledge. Perhaps a pinch of salt, a few grains of barley, a leaf of herb for flavor and balance. You notice the rhythm of cutting, stirring, lifting, and placing. Each action repeated, practiced, and internalized. Time stretches as your hands move slowly, as if each motion has the weight of purpose beyond the immediate sensation. Outside, the animals begin their own quiet routines. Chickens scratch for grains, a dog rests at the edge of the yard, a cow shifts in her pen. Their movements are small markers of time passing, subtle indicators that the day is unfolding as it should. You feel a connection to this rhythm, the gentle pressure of observation settling in your body. There is endurance in eating, in waiting, in tasting carefully, and noticing the smallest details of texture, temperature, and scent. The slow accumulation of care preserves not only life but comfort, sustaining both body and mind. You may notice the villagers adhering to specific patterns in their meals. Fasting days are observed without complaint, not out of strict duty alone, but out of belief that restraint strengthens endurance and aligns body and spirit. Certain foods are consumed at particular times, guided by humoral theory, cooling foods in warm seasons, warming foods in cold, moist foods balanced against dryness. You may feel the subtle weight of these rules pressing gently, shaping choice and behavior without overt coercion. In another dwelling, a pot simmers over the fire, emitting soft warmth and faint steam. You notice the hands stirring slowly, the gentle rotation of ingredients, the careful attention to consistency. Each gesture is repeated, deliberate, slow. Small errors in measurement or timing could disturb balance, bringing fatigue, mild discomfort, or even slow illness. You feel a quiet reflection in yourself, aware of rhythm, repetition, and the slow unfolding of consequence in both body and environment. The act of eating extends beyond mere nourishment. It is also an exercise in endurance, patience, and observation. You see a villager pausing to observe the pot, noting the color, the aroma, the way bubbles rise and burst. Each observation informs the next action, stirring, adding a leaf, adjusting the fire. Time stretches as this ritual repeats, subtle and hypnotic. You notice your own breathing slow as you imagine, the gentle attentiveness of each movement, the quiet accumulation of awareness and bodily fatigue. Outside, the air shifts gently. A faint wind stirs leaves on the path, carrying subtle messages from the environment. Moisture in the soil, the promise of rain, the movement of animals. The villagers' meals, their observation of humors, and their endurance in preparation are all shaped by these cues. You feel your own body respond to the rhythm of the world around you, aligning slowly, as though the cycles of food, air, and labor were meant to shape both awareness and calm endurance. You notice children observing the preparation of meals. Their eyes follow each motion. Their small hands mimic stirring and lifting, absorbing lessons without words. Even in play, they learn the rhythm of patience, observation, and careful attention. The repetition trains both body and mind. Muscles learn subtle coordination. Attention is sharpened. Endurance accumulates. You may feel the faint echo of this training in yourself as you imagine these small, deliberate motions. By midday, the villagers sit together to eat. The meal is simple, yet every bite is infused with purpose and attention. Conversation is measured, gestures restrained, movements deliberate. There is a quiet pressure to act carefully, to notice the world, to consume with awareness. Each bite reinforces both nutrition and the subtle balance of humors, sustaining endurance without drama, teaching patience, and grounding the mind and body in rhythm and observation. The slow pace continues as the meal concludes. Bowls are set aside, fires attended, leftovers stored carefully. Each gesture, repeated daily, maintains harmony, prevents waste, and reinforces endurance. You notice the faint weariness in your own muscles as you imagine this rhythm. the calm fatigue of repetition, and the slow, continuous shaping of body and mind through attention to food, care, and belief. And even as you rise from the table, the day is not complete. Each subsequent task, washing dishes, tending the fire, preparing for labor or rest, is informed by the same careful attentiveness. The accumulation of small acts, repeated daily, shapes endurance, patience, and subtle awareness. You notice your own posture, the slow tightening and loosening of muscles, the gentle rhythm of breathing echoing the movements of those around you. Now, as the afternoon stretches forward, you feel the quiet weight of the day's lessons settle in. Food, belief, observation, and repetition are intertwined. Each act of eating and preparing sustains not only the body but the quiet endurance necessary for labor and survival. You may notice yourself drifting slightly, your mind following the slow rhythm of the day, the gentle accumulation of care, the hypnotic unfolding of movement and consequence. By evening, the hearth glows once more. Bowls are cleaned, water is drawn, herbs arranged for tomorrow. The rhythm of meals, the subtle observation of humors, and the gentle endurance of preparation have shaped both body and awareness. You carry these lessons with you, sensing the slow accumulation of fatigue and calm, the deliberate shaping of attention and endurance. As the day moves toward rest, the day continues with quiet attention to the body. You begin by washing your hands at the basin, the cold water tracing over your skin, fingers and palms tingling with awareness. Even this small act carries meaning. Medieval people believed that bodily cleanliness was not simply about comfort, but about protection, balance, and alignment with the world's unseen order. Dirt, sweat, or residual grease from the day could disturb humors, invite minor misfortune, or leave one more susceptible to fatigue and illness. You feel the subtle weight of these considerations as you move slowly, deliberately, tracing each finger in careful rotation. You turn to observe your own reflection in a basin of still water. The surface is slightly rippled by movement, distorting your features in a soft, hypnotic rhythm. The villagers might have seen this not as vanity, but as a practical ritual, the body as a mirror of health, a guide to endurance, and a tool for aligning behavior with belief. Every small motion, washing, combing, adjusting, reinforces awareness, trains the muscles, and maintains subtle order. You feel your own muscles relaxing as attention spreads from hands to shoulders, from arms to neck, the quiet repetition of motion steadying mind and body alike. And outside, the animals stir, reminding you of the day's ongoing rhythm. Chickens flap wings, pigs grunt softly, a dog lifts its head and yawns. These small signs punctuate the environment, and your attention to them reflects a mindfulness similar to that of medieval caretakers. Careful observation ensures not only survival, but calm, steady endurance. You may feel the faint pressure of awareness in your own posture, the gentle accumulation of subtle fatigue from repeated slow observation. You move through the village, noting that hygiene is rarely dramatic, but always deliberate. Clothing is adjusted, mended, and layered according to the season. Hands are scrubbed after work. Minor wounds are cleaned and dressed with herbs or oils. These routines are repeated quietly, almost hypnotically, and carry subtle consequences over time. Fatigue builds gradually, awareness deepens, and the rhythm of care becomes intertwined with the rhythm of life. You may notice your own movements reflecting this cadence, slow and deliberate, as though absorbing a silent instruction. In another dwelling, a villager attends a small ritual of purification. Water is sprinkled, surfaces wiped, and the hearth dusted clean. Each action is deliberate, repeated, and infused with quiet meaning. This is not ceremonial extravagance, but practical attentiveness. Cleanliness reinforces survival, maintains balance in the body, and signals alignment with social and spiritual norms. You feel the subtle rhythm of the motions: lift, rotate, wipe, set down, pause, observe. Each movement both exhausts and grounds. Training endurance in the absence of dramatic pressure, children observe and imitate these rituals, learning the slow, repetitive patterns that sustain both body and awareness. A child washing hands carefully after play, a small pause to adjust a cloak, a measured movement to sweep debris from a doorstep, all echo the adult practices. The accumulation of small, careful actions builds endurance, attention, and subtle alignment with community expectation. You may feel a faint echo of this accumulation in your own limbs, a gentle acknowledgement of slow, deliberate exertion. And by midday, the village is quiet, punctuated only by the low hum of activity, someone tending the fire, another sweeping the floor, a third adjusting a bundle of herbs. Each movement is deliberate, repeated, slow. There is no hurry. Fatigue accumulates gradually in the shoulders, the back, the hands, but it is the steady, predictable pressure of endurance rather than sudden strain. The day is measured by attention, observation, and subtle ritual. You feel yourself attuning to this rhythm, your breath slow, muscles responsive, mind calm yet aware. The rituals of bodily care also extend to water use, bathing, and the preparation of ointments and salves. Each step is measured, performed in small rotations, and repeated in cycles. Minor errors could disturb the balance of humors or invite discomfort, so careful attention is essential. You notice how the villagers move, slow lifting, precise pouring, deliberate stirring, the gentle rotation of the body. These movements train endurance, focus, and subtle awareness over hours and days. You feel the faint echo of this practice in your own posture, the gentle rhythm of muscles tightening and releasing in response to imagined repetition. You move toward the edge of the village, where a small stream winds through grass and reeds. A villager kneels to wash cloth, hands moving slowly, water rippling around them. Even these mundane tasks are observed with attention. Time stretches. Repetition accumulates subtle fatigue. The world is quiet but full of minor pressures, the chill of water on skin, the strain in shoulders and arms, the careful monitoring of motion to maintain balance and efficiency. You feel the slow rhythm pressing gently, a soft endurance that shapes awareness as surely as it shapes the body. By afternoon, small rituals of hygiene, arrangement, and attention blend into the daily pattern. Hands scrubbed, surfaces cleaned, herbs aligned, clothes folded. Even the smallest gestures carry meaning, maintaining subtle equilibrium between body, environment, and belief. You may notice your own awareness deepening, your muscles responding to imagined repetition, your breath slowing in tandem with the calm pace of life around you. Evening approaches and the village prepares for nightfall. Lamps are lit, fires tended, water drawn for cooking or washing. The rituals of bodily care are observed with quiet consistency, embedding patience, endurance, and subtle guidance into each gesture. You feel the gentle accumulation of calm fatigue, the slow shaping of posture, attention, and awareness. The body knows repetition, the mind internalizes rhythm. Small acts of care create continuity, resilience, and quiet balance in the face of long, slow days. And as you prepare to settle for the night, you may notice that these rituals leave a faint echo within you. The slow repetition of motion, the deliberate rotation of limbs, the soft awareness of posture, breath, and environment. The medieval approach to bodily care is not dramatic, but it shapes endurance, cultivates patience, and aligns both body and mind with the quiet rhythms of life. Time stretches, the body relaxes, and awareness blends with the gentle unfolding of the day. You carry these impressions with you as darkness settles, aware that survival, comfort, and subtle endurance are intertwined with each careful gesture. The village, the water, the hearth, and the body itself are all part of a continuous rhythm, observed, repeated, and slowly internalized. You may drift in and out of awareness, calm yet attentive, your body and mind reflecting the slow, deliberate lessons of ritual care. You rise with the soft grey light of dawn, feeling the lingering chill of the night in your limbs. The stone floor beneath your feet presses against your toes, grounding you in the slow rhythm of the day. Outside, the village is quiet but already stirring. The distant sound of a wooden wheel turning, the faint clatter of a bucket, and the soft rustle of leaves in the morning wind mark the beginning of daily labor. Time stretches deliberately, each moment measured, each movement carrying subtle consequence. You step into the small courtyard, where tools are laid out for the day's work. Hammers, hoes, knives, and spades rest neatly on wooden boards or hang along the stone walls. Every tool has a purpose, and every gesture with it is informed by long practice, repetition, and belief. The medieval villager knows that care in handling tools prevents accidents, preserves energy, and sustains endurance. You feel the gentle pressure of awareness in your own arms and shoulders, your muscles adjusting to the anticipation of slow, repetitive labor. And work begins with small tasks. A bundle of firewood is lifted and stacked, each piece aligned carefully to ensure stability. You notice the subtle shifts in posture required, a bend in the knees, a straightening of the back, a steadying of the hands. Repetition builds awareness, and over hours, fatigue accumulates slowly, pressing against your limbs but never sudden or dramatic. This is endurance measured in motion, repetition, and subtle attention to detail. And you move toward the fields, where the earth is damp from recent rain. A villager bends to plant seeds, small hands tracing rows with quiet precision. Each movement is repeated in careful rotation, ensuring rhythm, balance, and efficiency. You notice the sensation of muscles tightening and releasing, the gentle ache in the back, low accumulation of effort over time. The body learns patience, endurance, and careful attention to the environment through these subtle cycles. The villagers observe not only the soil but the sky. Clouds, wind, and sunlight are watched carefully, informing small adjustments in labor. A slight shift in the breeze may suggest postponing planting or adjusting the angle of a tool. Each observation requires subtle patience, the quiet accumulation of knowledge, and a willingness to follow a slow, persistent rhythm. You feel your own awareness deepen as you imagine these measured movements, the calm weight of endurance pressing gently against your limbs. And in the village, domestic labor proceeds with the same quiet rhythm. Water is drawn from the well, firewood gathered, meals prepared. Each task is deliberate, repeated daily, and attended with careful observation. Small rituals, such as cleaning the hearth, arranging herbs, or aligning tools, reinforce both social order and personal endurance. You may notice the faint sensation of tiredness in your shoulders and arms as you imagine performing these repeated, deliberate actions. Fatigue builds slowly, echoing the patient, continuous rhythm of labor. Children learn by observation. They mimic small motions, stirring, carrying, sweeping, adjusting clothing or tools. Through repetition, they absorb lessons of endurance, attention, and patience. Each small act strengthens coordination, attention, and subtle awareness. You may sense the slow accumulation of similar effects in your own posture and breathing, aligning with the measured rhythm of life unfolding around you. By mid-morning, the sun climbs higher, casting long, shifting shadows across the village. Villagers pause occasionally to rest, adjusting posture, rubbing aching muscles, or taking small sips of water. These pauses are deliberate, a quiet acknowledgement of fatigue and a gentle measure to preserve endurance for the hours ahead. You may feel a subtle echo in your own body, the rise and fall of breath, the gentle release of tension, the awareness of muscles stretching slowly and methodically. Evening work follows a similar pattern. The low sun casts long shadows, and villagers return to domestic tasks, tending animals, arranging supplies, preparing for the night. Every action is deliberate, small, and repeated. Fatigue presses gently, a reminder of the day's accumulated effort, yet the mind remains calm, attentive, and measured. You notice the way these repeated gestures create rhythm, order, and endurance. Linking the body, belief, and environment in subtle, persistent cycles, some labor is performed outside, in open fields or along winding paths. The chill in the air presses against skin and clothing, the wind tugging at garments and hair. Even these subtle discomforts are anticipated, observed, and accommodated through slow, deliberate action. Belief in humors, environmental awareness, and careful repetition guide every gesture. Each step, each lift, each bend contributes to endurance, patience, and awareness. You feel the faint echo of fatigue in your own muscles, the gentle weight of persistence pressing against your shoulders, back, and arms. You notice the villagers' small rituals during work, adjusting tools, pausing to observe the sky, counting repetitions of tasks, aligning movements with natural rhythm. These rituals are not dramatic but essential, shaping endurance, attention, and subtle awareness. Fatigue accumulates steadily, not in sudden spikes, but as a gentle, persistent companion. You may feel your own breath slow, muscles respond, and mind align with the rhythm of these small, deliberate movements. And by nightfall, the day's labor winds down. Tools are cleaned, fires tended, animals fed, and small tasks repeated one final time before rest. The accumulated fatigue of the day settles into the body like a gentle weight. The mind, aware yet calm, mirrors the slow rhythm of labor, repetition, and endurance. You notice the quiet echo of these patterns in your own posture and your breathing, in the gentle loosening of tension that accompanies the completion of deliberate, measured work. And the quiet rituals of labor, repeated daily, create stability and continuity. They teach endurance, patience, and awareness through subtle, persistent repetition. You may sense the same rhythm within yourself, muscles responding to imagined movement, breath aligning with deliberate action, attention settling into calm observation. The day ends not with drama or excitement, but with quiet reflection, fatigue acknowledged, endurance reinforced, and subtle understanding deepening. As darkness falls, the village is still but for the low crackle of hearth fires and the distant rustle of night wind. You carry with you the lessons of the day, careful attention, subtle endurance, quiet observation, and repetition. Each movement, each gesture, each pause has shaped body, mind, and awareness. You may drift in and out of consciousness, the faint pressure of fatigue and rhythm guiding you gently toward rest, your body and mind echoing the slow, measured life of the medieval world. The sun dips low, spilling a soft amber light across the village rooftops. Shadows lengthen and stretch along the cobbled lanes, shifting slowly as the day folds into evening. You feel the coolness of the stone beneath your feet, the faint chill pressing through your clothing. Each breath carries the scent of smoke, earth, and damp timber, grounding you in the slow rhythm of nightfall. In this hour, the medieval mind turns quietly towards sleep, dreams, and the invisible forces that govern the night. You walk past cottages where lamps glow softly, flickering through small windows. Families begin their rituals, arranging bedding, stoking fires, offering brief prayers, aligning tools and belongings for the morning. Even the act of preparing for sleep carries subtle moral and practical weight. The villagers believe that care in these small gestures protects both body and spirit, warding off fatigue, misfortune, and the influence of restless or malevolent spirits. You notice how deliberate and slow these motions are, folding blankets, adjusting pillows, placing a jug of water within reach, all performed with measured attention. You may observe children settling for the night, eyes wide for a moment, then slowly closing, their breath deepening with the rhythm of security. Adults move more quietly, aware that the night holds both rest and subtle danger. The hum of insects, the distant bark of a dog, the faint rustle of leaves. Each is noticed, each interpreted, each folded into the rhythm of preparation. There is no alarm, only awareness, repetition, and careful alignment with the world as it slows for night. The villagers hold beliefs about dreams. Some are seen as messages from the divine, others as omens or warnings. A sudden image, a recurring vision, or even a small sensation while falling asleep is interpreted carefully, discussed quietly among family or neighbors, and weighed against the day's observations. Dreams are slow, cumulative, and require subtle attention. You feel the quiet pull of anticipation, the gentle tension of curiosity, tempered by the calm repetition of nighttime routines. Fatigue presses softly, coaxing muscles and mind towards stillness, yet awareness remains alert in its own measured way. You may notice the way people arrange themselves for sleep. Straw-filled mattresses, simple blankets, and carefully aligned personal items reflect both comfort and subtle concern for endurance. Position, layering, and warmth are considered against the chill of night, the humors of the body, and the guidance of unseen forces. Even minor misalignment can result in stiffness, fatigue, or discomfort by morning. You feel the slow weight of these considerations in your own mind, the quiet accumulation of awareness, and the hypnotic rhythm of preparation. Outside, the wind stirs the branches of trees, leaves brushing against one another with a faint whisper. The villagers listen subtly, understanding that the night is alive with signs and rhythms. Some believe that certain sounds signal spirits passing. Others interpret shifts in wind and weather as guidance for the coming day. These interpretations are slow, deliberate, and quietly influential, shaping decisions about how to sleep, when to rise, and how to maintain balance in body and environment. You sense a similar attentiveness settling over your own mind, a gentle awareness of subtle patterns. And by evening, the village streets are largely empty. A few figures move quietly, tending lamps or securing tools. Your footsteps echo softly, a small rhythm that blends with the distant murmurs of life winding down. The slow pressure of awareness presses gently. Each action, each pause, carries consequence for endurance, comfort, and alignment with the unseen order. You feel the calm weight of fatigue accumulating in muscles, shoulders, and back, each gesture reinforcing the quiet rhythm of life. Inside a dwelling, a parent adjusts bedding for children, folding blankets with care, smoothing sheets, placing a jug of water at the bedside. The repetition is slow, almost hypnotic. The body notices subtle muscle movements. The mind absorbs quiet lessons of patience, endurance, and attention to detail. Even small acts, adjusting a pillow, arranging a blanket, straightening a corner of the room, carry significance, reinforcing both physical comfort and alignment with social and spiritual expectation. You may observe prayers offered before sleep, soft words whispered quietly, gestures performed slowly. These are neither dramatic nor urgent, but carry subtle reassurance, protection, endurance, and alignment. Belief shapes posture, attention, and calm. You feel a faint echo of this in your own breathing, in the gentle rhythm of shoulders releasing, in the quiet settling of fatigue through limbs. The body and mind respond to repetition, patience, and slow, deliberate motion. The medieval understanding of dreams is intertwined with health. Nighttime visions are interpreted for guidance, for caution, and for reflection. A dream may remind one of imbalance, of fatigue, or of oversight during the day. Some visions are treated as subtle instruction: adjust posture, take more rest, prepare differently for labor. Even misfortune is often understood not as sudden or dramatic, but as slow, cumulative, and observable in patterns over time. You may feel this slow, persistent influence, pressing softly in your own awareness. By midnight, the village settles into near silence. Only the faint crackle of remaining hearth fires, the occasional shift of animals, and the distant sigh of wind mark the passage of time. You notice how small adjustments continue. a blanket tucked more snugly, a hand moved for comfort, a jug repositioned for easy reach. These deliberate repeated actions shape endurance, comfort, and alignment with subtle guidance. Fatigue deepens gently, coaxing the mind and body toward rest without urgency, allowing awareness to drift slowly, like clouds across the night sky. You feel yourself immersed in the slow rhythm of the night. The repetition of small acts, the accumulation of fatigue, the quiet attention to body and environment. Dreams may arrive gently, subtle images forming in awareness, interpreted softly against the backdrop of care and observation. Each breath, each muscle shift, each small gesture contributes to endurance, patient awareness, and alignment with unseen patterns. You notice the slow unfolding of time, each hour stretching into the next with calm, hypnotic weight. Even in stillness, the night is alive. Your body rests, yet subtle attention remains. The village's practices of sleep, dreams, and nighttime care echo in your own awareness. Deliberate preparation, patient observation, gentle endurance, and the accumulation of quiet understanding. You feel the soft weight of fatigue, the gentle pulse of calm, and the slow rhythm of life as it continues into darkness. And by the final hours before dawn, the village is completely still. Only faint light from dying embers glows through windows. The quiet accumulation of the day's labor, care, and attention settles in the body. Muscles loosen, breath slows, and awareness drifts in gentle cycles. Belief, observation, and endurance have guided the day and now accompany you into the slow, patient unfolding of night, where dreams, rest, and quiet preparation shape the rhythm of life once more. The village rests beneath a deepening sky, yet life continues quietly in small, deliberate motions. You notice a faint glow from a window, where a villager tends to chores that must not wait for daylight. The air is cool and damp, brushing softly against your skin. Each movement in the night carries subtle weight. Fatigue presses gently on your shoulders, muscles respond with slow precision, and your breath falls into rhythm with deliberate, quiet effort. Inside the small cottage, the hearth burns low, casting long, soft shadows across walls and floors. A villager quietly sorts herbs, sifting through bundles with careful fingers. You may notice the repetition: lift, separate, rotate, observe, set aside. Each motion is deliberate, ensuring accuracy and conserving energy. Fatigue is present, yet slow to build, pressing gently against the limbs rather than demanding sudden attention. The night teaches endurance in small increments, and awareness deepens with every quiet action. Outside, the wind rustles through bare branches, carrying a faint scent of frost and damp earth. The animals move subtly. A dog shifts in its bed, chickens murmur softly, a cow shifts weight on its hooves. Observing these small motions requires attentiveness, even in the stillness of night. Each subtle sound or movement carries information: a change in wind, a sign of moisture, or a shift in temperature that may affect work tomorrow. The villagers have learned to interpret these small cues carefully, their attention sharpening in a slow, deliberate way. You may feel your own senses heighten as you imagine these observations, your muscles responding with quiet readiness. Some labor is performed at night out of necessity, drawing water, tending fire, or maintaining tools for the morning. Each task is deliberate, performed with care and patience. The chill in the air presses against skin and clothing, and the faint weariness of the day lingers. You notice the gentle tension in your back and shoulders, the slow, careful engagement of your hands and arms, and the way each movement reinforces endurance rather than urgency. Time stretches, and the night unfolds as a sequence of quiet, repeated motions. Villagers pause frequently, not out of exhaustion alone, but to observe the environment. Moonlight illuminates uneven paths. Subtle shadows hint at movement, and the faint rustle of leaves conveys information about wind and weather. Even small adjustments, moving a tool, shifting a bundle, checking the hearth, are performed deliberately, training attention and awareness. The rhythm of night labor is slow, hypnotic, and continuous. Fatigue accumulates gradually, blending with mindfulness in a way that is almost meditative. Okay, you may notice a child accompanying a parent, learning small tasks even as the hour grows late. The child moves cautiously, imitating the measured rotations of lifting, placing, and observing. Each motion reinforces endurance and attention, teaching subtle awareness of body, environment, and social expectation. You may feel echoes of these lessons in your own body, the slow tightening and releasing of muscles, the gentle rhythm of breath, the quiet accumulation of fatigue and awareness. Inside, simple domestic rituals continue. Water is drawn, cloth is washed, small fires are stoked for warmth and preparation. Each task is performed in cycles of repeated attention: lift, pour, stir, fold, observe, adjust. Even minor errors could have consequences for comfort or endurance. The repetition trains the body, while the subtle weight of expectation sharpens attention. You feel the hypnotic pull of these motions, the gentle pressure of fatigue, and the calm rhythm of continuity unfolding slowly through the night. And outside, the night is punctuated by quiet observations. The villagers notice the movement of clouds, the distant calls of animals, and the subtle shifts in temperature. These cues inform decisions: when to wake, when to prepare for labor, when to adjust fire, clothing, or bedding. Observation is slow, deliberate, and cumulative. Time stretches as each detail is noted, each adjustment made with care. You may feel your own attention expanding, your awareness settling into the measured rhythm of night. By the middle of the night, the village is mostly still. Only faint sounds mark activity: a soft footstep, a gentle scrape of wood, the low rustle of a curtain. Labor continues for those who cannot rest, often in quiet rotation, tending fires, feeding animals, or preparing tools. The repetition reinforces endurance, patience, and subtle observation. Fatigue presses softly. Muscles relax and tighten in response to deliberate motion, and mind and body adapt to the gentle, persistent rhythm. You may notice the villagers pausing to breathe slowly, adjusting posture or shifting weight to preserve comfort. Each pause, though brief, contributes to endurance, training the body to persist under slow pressure. Even minor adjustments are part of a larger rhythm: awareness, repetition, and subtle observation. The night carries no urgency, yet every action carries consequence. You feel the calm weight of awareness settling over your own body, the gentle tension and release echoing the slow cycles of night labor. Toward the end of the night, subtle preparation for the coming day begins. Fires are stoked lightly, water is readied for morning, and tools are checked and aligned. Every motion is deliberate, performed in rotation and reinforced by habit. Fatigue lingers but does not dominate. Instead, it is gentle, persistent, and intertwined with the rhythm of attention and endurance. You may notice the echo of this rhythm in your own awareness, muscles responding to imagined repetition, and breath aligning with measured movement. The quiet labor of the night is interwoven with observation, endurance, and subtle ritual. Each repeated motion, each careful pause, each deliberate adjustment teaches patience, aligns the body with environment, and cultivates awareness. The village, though still, is alive with subtle motion, quiet purpose, and persistent attention. You feel this rhythm within yourself, your awareness expanding in tandem with the slow unfolding of the night, your body carrying the gentle weight of accumulated effort and careful observation. And as the first hints of dawn approach, the village is calm. Fires smolder softly, animals shift in pens, and tools rest quietly. Labor has been slow, deliberate, and measured. You may feel the faint echo of the night's rhythm within your own body, the gentle fatigue in muscles, the calm, even breath, the quiet awareness of movement and environment. The lessons of night labor, observation, and subtle endurance linger, preparing both mind and body for the rhythm of the day to come. The first pale light of dawn stretches softly across the horizon. Shadows retreat gradually, leaving the village bathed in muted gold and grey. You feel the cool stone beneath your feet, lingering from the night's chill, and notice how the air carries a faint dampness from dew. Each breath is slow and deliberate, inhaling the crisp morning scent of earth, wood, and smoke. Time stretches softly, the day unfolding without hurry, each moment marked by careful observation. You walk through the village lanes, noticing small signs of life. A door opens gently. A villager steps into the morning air, stretching slowly, muscles stiff from rest, but gradually loosening. The rhythm of endurance is already present, the lingering weight of fatigue from night labor balanced against the soft preparation for new activity. You feel your own awareness settle into this slow, deliberate pattern, muscles and breath aligning with the gradual awakening of the world. Animals stir, chickens cluck softly, a dog yawns and shifts its weight. A cow shifts in its pen, legs bending and stretching carefully. Each motion is measured, quiet, deliberate. Observing these motions, you notice the subtle accumulation of effort and endurance present in every being. Fatigue from the night is not dramatic but persistent. Awareness of the environment is constant, gentle, and cumulative. You sense the slow rhythm echoing in your own body, your breath deepening, muscles loosening, attention attentive yet calm. Villagers begin the slow work of morning, carrying water, tending fire, preparing meals, checking tools, and readying animals. Each task is repeated with measured attention, deliberate posture, and careful rotation. The small accumulation of these actions builds endurance, patience, and subtle awareness. You may feel the echo of this repetition in your own limbs, the quiet pressure of fatigue balanced by steady, hypnotic rhythm. And you notice small moments of reflection as people pause, adjusting a bundle, wiping hands on cloth, straightening posture. Even brief observations are deliberate, maintaining awareness of the environment, the body, and the rhythm of the day. The medieval mind embraced these pauses as moments to assess, recalibrate, and align both physical and mental faculties. You feel the gentle accumulation of calm insight. As the morning stretches slowly forward, each gesture embedding endurance, awareness, and subtle understanding. Some villagers take a moment to observe the weather, reading the sky for clouds, wind, or hints of rain. These observations guide decisions for work, preparation, and protection of livestock and crops. Each observation is deliberate, repeated, and integrated into a slow, continuous rhythm. You notice the tension in the shoulders as arms lift to shade eyes, the gentle rotation of the head to scan the horizon, the quiet engagement of muscles during these repeated acts of perception. Fatigue and awareness blend slowly, like the rising sun illuminating subtle contours of the day. Breakfast is prepared in slow, measured motions, water drawn, porridge stirred, bread sliced, fire tended. Each gesture carries not only practical necessity, but the weight of subtle moral and humoral guidance. You observe the deliberate rotations of hands, the gentle tilting of vessels, the repeated lifting and lowering of utensils. Each motion teaches endurance and patience, reinforcing awareness of the body and environment. You feel the faint echo of this rhythm settling in your own muscles and breath, each rep a quiet lesson in. Children rise gradually, observing and imitating the motions of adults. Small gestures repeated over and over, folding clothing, arranging bedding, carrying water, become lessons in endurance, attention, and patience. You may notice a faint tightening and loosening in your own muscles as you imagine these actions, a gentle rhythm of awareness and quiet fatigue, building slowly in your body. By mid-morning, the village is fully awake. Work begins with gentle precision, tending animals, preparing fences, fetching water, preparing tools. Each task is deliberate, repeated, and observed carefully. The accumulation of small motions reinforces endurance, attention, and subtle self-regulation. You may sense the rhythm echoing in your own limbs, breath aligning with movement, muscles engaging and relaxing in tandem with imagined repetition. Okay. Reflection accompanies labor. You notice your own body's response to each gesture, the subtle ache of muscles, the gentle warmth of exertion, the steady accumulation of fatigue. The mind absorbs lessons from the slow, deliberate rhythm of the village, patience, awareness, endurance, and the intertwining of practical necessity with quiet observation. Each repeated motion deepens understanding. Each pause reinforces calm attentiveness. Or even in routine, you sense small variations. The way sunlight shifts across a courtyard, the distant movement of animals, a subtle change in wind. These variations are noted quietly, incorporated into the rhythm of action and reflection. Lection. You feel the persistent, gentle pressure of endurance building, awareness expanding, and subtle fatigue shaping the body. The day stretches ahead in slow, hypnotic succession, each action deliberate, each gesture reinforcing calm observation and measured persistence. Again, by late morning, you pause briefly to rest. Muscles loosen, breath steadies, and you observe the gentle unfolding of life around you. Small signs of change, the shift of shadows, a breeze stirring leaves, the faint call of a distant animal carry information about the environment, guiding subsequent actions. You feel the slow, cumulative effect of these repeated observations, awareness, patience, and endurance, blending in quiet, hypnotic rhythm. As the sun rises higher, the village continues its quiet, deliberate work. Meals are prepared, tools arranged, animals tended, and small tasks repeated in measured rotation. Each gesture is deliberate, each action reinforcing endurance and attention. You may sense the slow accumulation of fatigue and awareness within your own body, the gentle rhythm of breath and movement reflecting the hypnotic cadence of the village. By midday, the day has fully unfolded. The slow accumulation of labor, observation, and reflection is apparent in both body and mind. Fatigue is present but gentle, awareness remains steady, and endurance has been reinforced through repeated, deliberate gestures. The rhythm of life continues quietly, the balance of work, reflection, and subtle preparation shaping every action, guiding both body and mind with hypnotic persistence. You carry these impressions forward, the slow accumulation of endurance, the quiet shaping of awareness, and the subtle, persistent rhythm of life as the medieval world unfolds around you. Each movement, each gesture, each small reflection embeds lessons in patience, observation, and persistent attention. You may feel the gentle echo of this rhythm in your own body and mind, preparing for the continuation of life's quiet, hypnotic cycle. The village moves not only by day and night, but by the slow, persistent cycle of the seasons. You feel it in the chill that lingers longer in spring mornings, in the soft weight of frost clinging to rooftops, in the dry warmth of late summer fields. Every task, gesture, and belief is shaped by this unhurried passage of time. The medieval mind interprets these cycles not only practically, but spiritually, quietly threading survival into the rhythm of nature. You walk along a path lined with hedgerows. The frost clings softly to leaves and stone, crunching faintly beneath your feet. The villager's work shifts with each season, planting and harvesting, tending livestock, preserving food, repairing shelters, preparing for long winters. Each motion is deliberate, repeated, and guided by observation of subtle environmental cues. Even the smallest task, sweeping a courtyard, mending a tool, or drawing water, carries the weight of careful endurance and cumulative knowledge. Beliefs about the seasons shape every choice. The timing of planting, the selection of crops, and the care of animals are guided by patterns observed over years, passed from one generation to the next. Each subtle adjustment, the rotation of soil, the layering of hay, the preservation of seeds, embeds endurance, patience, and attentiveness. You notice the slow accumulation of these tasks, how they stretch across days and weeks, shaping not only the body, but the rhythm of awareness itself. And winter is a time of subtle, pervasive pressure. Cold seeps into bones, breath becomes visible, and work moves more slowly. You may observe villagers layering clothing, tending fires more frequently, and rationing resources carefully. Fatigue is constant but gradual, pressing gently on muscles and mind, encouraging deliberate action. The body and mind adapt to repetition. Repetition trains endurance, and attention is honed through patient observation of both people and environment. Summer carries different pressures. Heat, dryness, and long hours of labor demand careful pacing. Work is divided and repeated, water carried in measured sips, shade sought deliberately, and small adjustments made to preserve energy. Even minor miscalculations can accumulate into discomfort or fatigue, teaching subtle lessons in observation and endurance. You feel your own muscles responding slowly as you imagine these deliberate, repeated efforts. The quiet rhythm of survival shaping both posture and breath. Spring and autumn hold transitions that are particularly delicate. Planting, harvesting, and preparation for the extremes of cold or heat require attention to detail and slow accumulation of small, deliberate gestures. You notice villagers checking soil, observing the sun's angle, adjusting layers of clothing, and preparing tools for weeks of labor ahead. These repeated actions reinforce endurance, shape awareness, and cultivate subtle anticipation of environmental shifts. See, you may feel a gentle echo of this rhythm in your own body, a calm yet persistent attention settling into muscles and breath. Beliefs about weather and seasons are intertwined with practical survival. Rain, wind, frost, and sun are interpreted carefully, each observation influencing timing and method of work. Superstitions and inherited wisdom guide action, planting by phases of the moon, storing hay before a predicted frost, observing animal behavior as a sign of impending change. Each small act is deliberate, repeated, and accumulates knowledge slowly. You feel the gentle weight of anticipation pressing softly in your body, awareness expanding with each observed pattern. Villagers also maintain routines of preservation and preparation that span months and years. Food is salted, smoked, or stored in earthenware. Tools are repaired and hidden from moisture. Clothing is patched and layered for long-term endurance. Each repeated gesture, though slow and quiet, carries subtle consequence for survival. Fatigue accumulates gently over days and weeks, blending with calm attention to detail and deliberate, hypnotic repetition. You notice the echo of these movements in your own posture, the subtle rhythm of breath, the quiet tension and release of muscles engaged in imagined continuity. The rhythm of seasons also informs rituals of community and reflection. Festivals, religious observances, and social gatherings mark transitions between planting and harvest, light and dark, cold and warmth. These gatherings, though calm and slow, are crucial to mental endurance and social cohesion. Observation, ritual, and repetition intertwine, shaping attention, awareness, and the body's slow adaptation to cyclic pressure. You sense the gentle pull of this rhythm, the way time stretches, pauses, and accumulates experience over months and years. And children learn seasonal knowledge through observation and participation. They notice subtle changes in light, temperature, and natural behavior. They imitate adult tasks, repeat rituals, and slowly accumulate endurance, patience, and practical understanding. You feel the quiet echo of this accumulation in your own awareness, the gentle repetition shaping attention, breath, and posture, in measured cycles. The rhythm of life in the village is slow, continuous, and cumulative, like the seasons themselves. Even minor adjustments matter in the long view of survival. Shifting a bundle of firewood before rain, mending a roof before winter, rotating seeds for planting. All gestures are deliberate, repeated, and observed carefully. Fatigue is gentle but persistent, teaching awareness and patience. Each motion carries consequence for weeks or months ahead, embedding endurance and reflection in both body and mind. You notice subtle echoes of this rhythm in your own awareness, muscles responding to imagined motion, breath steadying, attention unfolding slowly and hypnotically. By mid-morning or late afternoon, depending on the season, the village feels both calm and quietly pressured. Tasks continue in repetition, tools cleaned, animals tended, food stored, and the environment observed. Each gesture is deliberate, measured, and necessary. Fatigue presses gently, endurance is reinforced, and attention deepens. You may feel the slow accumulation of both body and mind, a quiet recognition of long-term consequence, patience, and rhythm. And the lessons of seasonal belief and preparation are subtle but persistent. They teach endurance, observation, and the quiet unfolding of action over long stretches of time. You carry these lessons inward, muscles and mind attuned to repetition, awareness deepened by careful observation, attention shaped by cumulative pressure. Life stretches quietly across months and seasons, gentle, hypnotic, and persistent, echoing in every small gesture, every repeated action, and every deliberate pause. The day stretches onward, slow and deliberate, shaped not only by labor and season, but by the subtle fabric of social life. You may notice small clusters of villagers meeting quietly in lanes or doorways. Conversations are measured, gestures understated, and every word carries meaning. In the medieval world, social rituals maintain balance, reinforce endurance, and provide subtle guidance for behavior, all without sudden drama or haste. A neighbor greets another with a nod, then a soft exchange about yesterday's work. The tone is calm, almost hypnotic, but each small gesture carries weight. Courtesy, attentiveness, and repetition of familiar words are part of subtle social regulation. A misstep, a forgotten greeting, a misplaced item, a slight breach of ritual may not lead to loud conflict, but it is noted, remembered, and may influence future interactions. You notice the faint pressure of observation in each posture, each glance, each soft-spoken sentence. Oh, can children play quietly under the watchful eyes of adults? Even in their play, patterns of endurance and repetition are embedded. A small dispute over a stick or a ball is resolved through imitation of adult gestures, calm assertion, measured intervention, and subtle correction. Fatigue may accumulate slowly from repeated play and correction, yet the rhythm is deliberate, reinforcing awareness and social learning. You may sense the echo of this slow accumulation in your own body, muscles shifting, attention stretching, and breath aligning with gentle observation. You may notice elders sitting quietly by the hearth, discussing past events or subtle matters of community order. Their words are calm, the rhythm slow. Lessons of endurance, patience, and observation are conveyed not through drama, but through repetition, example, and subtle suggestion. Small gestures, passing a tool, arranging firewood, or gesturing toward a document, carry meaning, reinforcing social cohesion and the quiet balance of responsibility. You feel a faint echo of these patterns in your own awareness, a slow attunement to subtle cues and measured repetition. Minor disputes unfold in a similarly slow, deliberate way. A complaint about a mislaid item, a misunderstanding about work, or a disagreement over resources is approached with quiet observation. Each participant weighs words, watches gestures, and moves deliberately, aware that hasty reactions carry consequences. Fatigue may build gently from prolonged attention, the subtle tension pressing softly in shoulders and back, yet resolution is sought through slow alignment rather than sudden confrontation. You may feel your own awareness stretching to match this deliberate rhythm, muscles responding to imagined postures and soft gestures. Rituals of social interaction also guide the flow of work. A shared meal, the passing of tools, or the alignment of labor schedules reinforces communal endurance. These repeated actions embed social expectation and continuity without urgency. You may notice the hypnotic rhythm of coordinated movement, lifting, placing, observing, adjusting, and repeating. Fatigue is gentle, awareness persistent, attention calibrated to the slow, cumulative effect of interaction. Even small acts of kindness carry weight. Offering water to a child, smoothing a blanket for an elder, or arranging firewood for a neighbor is performed deliberately, repeatedly, and with subtle attention to consequence. Each action reinforces endurance, awareness, and the rhythm of social life. You may sense the faint pressure of accumulated effort in your own shoulders, arms, and hands, the quiet echo of deliberate movement extending from imagined gestures to body and mind. Observing disputes, you notice that resolution often comes slowly. A soft apology, a measured adjustment of behavior, or a quiet rearrangement of property restores alignment. No sudden punishment or dramatics are required. The medieval emphasis on patient observation, careful repetition, and subtle feedback guides social equilibrium. Fatigue and attention blend, teaching endurance and quiet judgment. You may feel the gentle cumulative rhythm echoing in your own awareness, a calm persistence shaping both posture and breath. Community rituals extend beyond labor and disputes. Shared prayers, the alignment of tools before work, seasonal gatherings, and even the placement of animals in pens follow measured patterns. Each gesture, repeated over time, reinforces endurance, observation, and subtle alignment of behavior with environment. You notice the soft, persistent accumulation of effort and attention, and you feel your own body and mind attuning to this deliberate cadence. I move slowly in this context. Morning stretches into afternoon, afternoon into evening, and each hour carries subtle pressures of observation, endurance, and attention to social harmony. Fatigue accumulates quietly, muscles and joints responding to repeated motion, attention sustaining awareness, and breath syncing with the hypnotic rhythm of measured interaction. Even minor corrections or reminders carry long-term effect, shaping awareness and endurance through subtle repetition. You may observe a family resolving a small argument, a soft explanation, careful listening, repeated acknowledgement, and deliberate adjustment of belongings or posture. Each participant moves slowly, mind and body aligned with the rhythm of quiet negotiation. Fatigue is present but gentle, awareness persistent, and endurance reinforced through measured repetition. The rhythm of social life unfolds gradually, building subtle understanding and quiet harmony over hours, days, and weeks. Evening draws near. Villagers return to domestic tasks, arranging tools, feeding animals, preparing meals, and observing the small consequences of social interaction. Each gesture is deliberate, repeated, and observed. Fatigue continues to press softly, attention remains steady, and endurance is reinforced through quiet repetition. You may notice the accumulation of subtle awareness within your own body, the gentle tightening and loosening of muscles, the rhythm of breath, and the quiet shaping of attention. By nightfall, the village is calm but attentive. Social rituals, minor disputes, and quiet interventions have shaped the rhythm of the day. Each motion, word, and pause has reinforced endurance, observation, and subtle alignment of behavior with environment. You feel the gentle echo of this rhythm in your own body, soft fatigue, slow awareness, and calm attention blending into the hypnotic cadence of the day. Even as darkness settles, these patterns continue. Small gestures, careful observation, and deliberate repetition teach endurance, patience, and quiet social understanding. You may drift in and out of awareness, the persistent rhythm of movement and attention guiding mind and body gently toward rest. Reflecting the slow, deliberate continuity of life in the medieval village, the sky fades slowly into evening, soft muted colors stretching across the horizon. You feel the gentle weight of fatigue in your limbs, a calm pressure settling in your back, shoulders, and arms. The village itself seems to exhale, the rhythm of labor, observation, and social interaction winding down in deliberate, hypnotic cycles. Time slows, stretching across the last hours of light, as the world prepares for night and rest, and you walk along a quiet lane, noticing the subtle details that accumulate through days, weeks, and seasons. The alignment of roof tiles, the placement of tools, the careful stacking of firewood. Each small gesture carries significance, repeated slowly across days to preserve comfort, endurance, and continuity. The mind and body feel these repetitions as soft pressure, a gentle shaping of awareness, and a quiet rehearsal of survival. Villagers pause in small acts of reflection, a parent smoothing a blanket, a worker observing the final rays of sunlight across the courtyard, an elder aligning a tool before rest. Each gesture is deliberate, quiet, and cumulative, reinforcing patience and endurance without urgency. Fatigue has settled into a gentle rhythm, echoing through muscles and breath, a reminder of persistent effort and careful observation. You may notice subtle reflections on the day itself. Thoughts drift slowly, the accumulation of labor, minor disputes resolved, preparations made for the next day, seasonal adjustments observed. Each reflection is calm, deliberate, and repeated quietly in mind. The medieval habit of reflection is measured, integrating awareness of the self, environment, and community. You sense a gentle echo of these patterns in your own awareness, a hypnotic alignment of mind and body with slow, persistent rhythm. Eating rituals continue, small meals, tending animals, stoking fires, preparing tools, and layering clothing for night. Each action is deliberate, repeated, and carefully observed. Fatigue persists but is gentle, awareness is steady, and endurance is quietly reinforced. You may notice subtle tension and release in muscles, the rhythm of breath slowing in sync with imagined gestures, the accumulation of effort and observation merging into calm, hypnotic awareness. The villagers' minds also reflect on longer cycles. Seasons, weather, and time inform not only daily work, but preparation for months ahead. You may imagine subtle plans forming, the rotation of fields, preservation of food, care of livestock, and alignment of tools for months to come. These slow, deliberate considerations reinforce endurance, awareness, and subtle patience. Fatigue is soft but persistent, muscles responding to imagined repetition, mind attuned to the slow unfolding of consequence. Children observe quietly, imitating gestures and absorbing lessons of endurance, attention, and observation. Even minor tasks, adjusting a blanket, placing a tool, tidying a corner, carry subtle weight. Repetition, patience, and cumulative awareness shape both body and mind. You feel the gentle echo of this rhythm in your own posture, the calm pulse of breath, and the subtle tightening and loosening of muscles responding to imagined action. Night falls fully. Fires burn low in hearths, casting soft illumination on walls and floors. Villagers move slowly through final rituals, tending animals, adjusting bedding, and performing small acts of observation and care. Fatigue presses gently, attention remains steady, and endurance is reinforced through quiet repetition. The hypnotic rhythm of measured movement, subtle reflection, and deliberate observation continues, shaping both body and mind. You may notice small pauses as villagers breathe, adjust posture, or consider the day's labor. These moments of stillness reinforce awareness, endurance, and subtle alignment with environment and community. Time stretches slowly, and the accumulation of repetition, observation, and care presses gently against your body and mind. Each breath, each muscle shift, each subtle movement contributes to a calm, persistent rhythm. Even in the quiet, small lessons linger. The placement of a tool, the alignment of bedding, the rotation of firewood, each gesture, repeated slowly over time, has consequences for comfort, endurance, and awareness. You may sense the cumulative effect within yourself: gentle fatigue, calm breath, focused yet relaxed attention, and a slow unfolding of reflection. The rhythm of the village merges with your own, soft and persistent. By the final hours of night, the village rests. Fires glow softly, animals settle in pens, and windows reflect the faint light of the moon. The hypnotic accumulation of labor, reflection, and preparation merges with subtle endurance, patience, and observation. You may feel your body responding, muscles loosening, shoulders settling, breath deepening, awareness drifting in gentle cycles. The soft pressure of fatigue and rhythm carries both body and mind toward calm release. You may imagine the villagers' minds gently letting go of the day, releasing minor tensions, observing the quiet order that remains, and resting in patient awareness. Each repeated gesture, small reflection, and subtle observation has built endurance, patience, and understanding. Fatigue and awareness blend into a gentle, hypnotic cadence, the quiet echo of persistent, measured effort and calm observation. As darkness fully envelops the village, the lessons of the day and season linger softly in body and mind. Endurance, repetition, observation, and reflection have guided the day, teaching patience and awareness through gentle accumulation rather than sudden pressure. You may feel your own body aligning with this rhythm: slow breath, gentle fatigue, muscles relaxed yet attentive, mind calm, and awareness quietly persistent. The day concludes not with drama or sudden resolution, but with a gentle release. The rhythm of labor, social ritual, observation, and reflection continues softly in memory, in body, and in mind. Fatigue is acknowledged, attention remains calm, and endurance settles gently, echoing the hypnotic cadence of medieval life. You feel the slow, persistent pattern within yourself, subtle, calm, and deeply grounding. And the night has deepened, soft and velvety, wrapping the village in quiet darkness. You feel the gentle weight of fatigue in your limbs, the slow, persistent warmth of muscles that have labored through day and night. Breath moves calmly, rhythmically, in sync with subtle awareness. The world seems hushed, almost imperceptibly alive, each small sound, a shifting roof tile, a distant animal stirring, the faint crackle of embers, blending into a slow, persistent rhythm that invites reflection. You may look back upon the days you have witnessed in this village, upon the quiet endurance of its people, and the careful, repeated gestures that structure every moment. Labor is slow, deliberate, and measured. Observation is constant yet calm. Social interaction is patient, deliberate, and steeped in subtle consequence. Each action, each pause, each reflection has taught endurance, awareness, and the hypnotic rhythm of life, unfolding with gentle persistence. The medieval mind understood that time stretches, that each season, each day, each hour carries lessons of observation, patience, and subtle preparation. The rhythm of labor, rest, and reflection is slow, hypnotic, and cumulative. You may feel echoes of these rhythms within yourself, the gentle pulse of fatigue, the quiet shaping of attention, the soft expansion of awareness that accompanies repeated observation and deliberate motion. Consider the subtle pressures that guided these people: cold, hunger, fatigue, and the persistence of seasons. These were never dramatic, never sudden. They pressed softly and persistently, shaping body and mind over days and weeks. You may feel the faint resonance of this pressure in your own muscles and joints, the gentle tension and release, the slow accumulation of awareness, the calm alignment of breath and posture. Endurance is quiet, subtle, and deeply grounding. Even their beliefs, often misunderstood in modern eyes, carried a practical and psychological weight. Observing signs in the weather, the movement of animals, or the patterns of stars guided action. Each subtle insight, repeated over time, reinforced survival, comfort, and understanding. You may imagine the cumulative effect within yourself: attention expanding, awareness deepening, fatigue and reflection blending into a hypnotic, persistent rhythm. The small gestures that filled each day, folding bedding, adjusting tools, layering clothing, tending fire, caring for animals, were all part of a slow, deliberate dance with life itself. Repetition teaches endurance, attention, and subtle understanding. You may feel the echo of these gestures in your own muscles, shoulders releasing, arms shifting, hands resting, body aligning with calm persistence. Each breath is slow, deliberate, steady, accompanying the quiet accumulation of awareness. As you reflect, consider the calm weight of social life, measured greetings, subtle dispute resolution, quiet rituals, and observation of consequence. Each small act reinforces continuity, patience, and endurance without urgency. You may notice a soft resonance of this in your own mind, attention settling, curiosity lingering gently, calm reflection merging with fatigue. Life unfolds slowly, deliberately, and with quiet awareness of consequence. Night deepens further. The embers in hearths glow faintly, animals rest quietly, and windows reflect the soft moonlight. You may observe the villagers in gentle repose, muscles settling, breath slow, attention drifting between reflection and rest. Each repetition of gesture, each observation, each pause has guided endurance, attention, and subtle alignment with environment and community. Fatigue is gentle, persistent, and quietly instructive. You may notice how the rhythms of life echo beyond immediate labor and observation. Seasons, weather, social patterns, and personal reflection extend awareness across days and months. Each motion, each pause, each deliberate gesture builds continuity and endurance. You may feel this echo in your own body. Slow, rhythmic breath, subtle tension and release, muscles responding to imagined repetition, mind attuned to the hypnotic cadence of long, slow cycles of attention and care. Even small reflections carry meaning. Observing a tool arranged neatly, a blanket folded carefully, or an animal resting safely imparts subtle lessons in observation, patience, and endurance. You may feel the cumulative weight of these small observations, the soft accumulation of awareness and fatigue blending into calm, persistent rhythm. The mind relaxes, yet remains quietly attentive, aligned with gentle endurance rather than sudden action. Okay, now consider the contrast between then and now. Modern life is often fast, loud, and demanding, yet here, in this slow, deliberate world, each gesture carries gentle consequence, each observation shapes endurance, and each pause allows reflection. You may feel a subtle release as your mind imagines the calm consistency of this rhythm, a deepening relaxation as awareness merges with hypnotic repetition, and soft fatigue settles comfortably throughout the body. Breath deepens further. Each inhale and exhale aligns with the slow unfolding of the village's rhythm. Attention drifts gently, carrying echoes of subtle observation, patient endurance, and cumulative reflection. Muscles relax softly, shoulders drop, and spine aligns with quiet persistence. Even minor tension dissolves under the hypnotic cadence of repeated, deliberate action observed over time. You may feel a growing calm as reflection continues. The lessons of the medieval day, the night, the seasons, and the rhythms of social life merge into gentle awareness. Repetition teaches endurance, observation guides attention, and fatigue blends with calm, hypnotic persistence. The mind is quiet, the body relaxed, and awareness drifts in slow, even cycles, echoing the measured pace of life itself. And now allow yourself to release fully into the calm rhythm. The subtle pressures, the cumulative fatigue, and the persistent observations of medieval life have all been absorbed into awareness. You may feel muscles loosening, breath deepening, and mind settling into quiet reflection. Endurance and patience are carried gently within you, a soft, hypnotic residue of slow, persistent rhythm. The village rests completely. Fires burn low, animals are still, tools are aligned, and bedding carries the gentle imprint of careful hands. As you may imagine the quiet satisfaction of subtle accomplishment, each task performed, each observation noted, each gesture repeated and perfected over time. Fatigue is soft but persistent, awareness calm, and the rhythm of life continues quietly, gently, and persistently through imagination and reflection. Let this rhythm settle into your own awareness, the gentle accumulation of attention, the soft pressure of fatigue, the calm persistence of deliberate, repeated action. Breath and body align with slow, hypnotic cycles. Muscles release tension gradually, shoulders drop, and awareness expands into quiet calm. You are immersed in the persistent, gentle rhythm of life, reflection, and endurance, feeling soft alignment with the slow, deliberate flow of time. You may drift now, gently, calmly, with body, mind, and awareness attuned to the soft, persistent rhythm of life as it unfolds slowly. Fatigue, reflection, observation, and subtle endurance blend into calm, hypnotic persistence. Time stretches gently, and you are carried along without effort, fully immersed in the deliberate, measured world of the medieval village.